Hello everyone to game number 2 of T1 vs Down1 Kier in the LCK summer split of 2021. You have probably seen part 1, where I would have to say T1 got a nice draft edge, but if you saw the game, well, the coordination was as off as my hairline on some days. And yeah, T1 managed to throw the game out of the window even though they got the early drakes and had decent matchups in all lanes. Yeah. So that's quite strange. Coordination really was off in team fights. One was going in after the other, staggering the engages, which, yeah, that's not the great thing if you have a wombo combo comp. And Down1 we have to say, they did play it quite nicely. So the MSI jet lag or, yeah, we didn't saw anything just like that. Especially Khan with his Jace, as expected, he managed to pop off. Yes, T1 really played into him, like making some silly mistakes here and there. But let's get right into the bans here of this draft number 2. On T1 side, we see Senna, Tahm Kench and the Renekton. Renekton on blue side, quite strange, as yeah, people say he's OP, so banning him on blue side. That's not the way it goes. The other two picks here, banning away Ghost and Barrel's supportive options. I think that's fine. Senna obviously is a pick that is strong into the Kalista that we saw in game number 1. I didn't mention that, sadly, because I wasn't expecting the Glacial Augment to come in, as we haven't seen that in a while. Obviously, Senna with Glacial Augment is devastating to Kalista. But yeah, the Tahm Kench also a defensive option against Barrel. On the other side here, down below, Lucian, Thresh and the Ezreal. So again, banning out Teddy, Carrier and potentially FAKER come up. So yeah, nothing too surprising, as there are not really too many OP picks at the patch, besides maybe Ezreal. But Ezreal, as I mentioned, is probably a ban that's coming in against Teddy. So we see the Lee Sin now coming through, as well as the Gwen. So they are being picked up here by T1. Lee Sin as the first pick is a bit strange. I would argue that the Gwen is stronger. And Lee Sin probably going into the jungle. All the buffs, the E buff got reverted. So I don't know why this pick is now super meta. Probably because of the early to mid game skirmishes, where Lee Sin is quite good. And yeah, there are a few more AP champions coming up, as I mentioned, with the Akali. And yeah, now with the Gwen. They're obviously like an AD jungler. On the other side, Nocturne, Rumble. So yeah, that's probably the top jungle duo. Yes, these picks can be flexed in all different kinds of shapes, but that's what we can expect. Nocturne into Lee Sin for a top lane matchup, potentially. Not that great. Nocturne into Gwen, also kind of suffering. So yeah, but Nocturne with the Kai'Sa that also being elected here for Ghost. That's obviously a lot of dive threat, so that's something. The Kalista here again for Teddy. Now versus the Kai'Sa, that's a bit better matchup, but there's still the issue now. They need some protection, right? Kalista versus the Nocturne, that's not that great. So yeah, that's an issue. Looking at the bans here. The Nautilus and the set being banned from Down1 Kier. So banning away a few of Barrel's champions here with the set, banning them from Carrier. Carrier not really the best Nautilus. I think he even has a negative win rate, at least for this year. Obviously he can play the champion, but has not really found too much success with the Kalista. That would be a lot of lockdown, obviously against the shorter range Kai'Sa. Especially with the Kalista ultimate in tow. And we said here, obviously similar combos are potentially possible. Leona and Akali being now banned on the other side. Akali again, yes, there were many issues in game number 1, but the Akali pick still was decent to good, as there was no CC, and yeah, T1 already having elected quite CC poor Sejuani, wow. You're not going to expect this, man. So, is this some likely sin? You know, that's Sejuani support, right? Or Graga support? Nico support? Nico Kalista, obviously, that's a T1 special here coming in. Wow. So, Sejuani top lane. Okay, Galio. I like Gragas way more. Galio doesn't really work that well against Nocturne. Yeah, so that's coming in. Sejuani, top lane. Probably. I mean, Lee Sin. No, wait. So Lee Sin, mid lane, Gwen top, Sejuani jungle? Sejuani jungle. Didn't she receive some buffs? Wasn't there something? A few patches ago? Still, man. Not really. Let's pause this here. Not really liking this too much. Sejuani's jungle speed in comparison to Rumble, that's not too great. Let's wait here till they switch it up a bit. And yeah, Silas, Sejuani mid? No, never. Silas here coming in obviously has a ton of ultimates to steal. Gwen's ultimate probably the weakest, and that's something. Okay, let's wait for 20 seconds. And the Alistar pick, obviously, I don't have to talk too much about it. We see it every other day with the Kai'Sa in the bot lane, standard bot lane matchup. So, but wait, what? Did they elect Sejuani bot? Wait, what is going on? No, that was a mistake in the... Okay, I thought they elected that here. Yeah. This is Teddy screen. Whatever. So Sejuani in the jungle versus the Rumble. Obviously, she's way tanky and can probably, like, she really needs the Barmies for the clear speed, but she's also a tank, so she could itemize the Locket, which obviously really helps against the Rumble ult. I'm confused. This is something, wow. I didn't expect. What is this? Can we pause here? So, talking about matchups now here. Top lane. We see the Rumble being flexed to top. Oh my god. I'm a bit overwhelmed by this. Bit crazy. Like, I mean, Lee Sin in the mid lane at this patch, it's not optimal. Sejuani jungle, what the fuck is this? Nocturne also in the jungle instead of the Rumble. Especially with Sejuani, like Rumble versus Sejuani would be so good for the Rumble. Now with a lethality user against Sejuani, like he's not trading anything. Like he's probably losing some trades after level, I don't know, level 4, first backs, like depending on buy. He could lose 1v1s against Sejuani, man. I mean, unless he spell shields perfectly. Okay, lighting is whatever. Talking about top lane now. Rumble, we haven't seen him in quite a while. So yeah, he would probably have some pressure with his Q in terms of like wave control. But Gwen, obviously with her true damage coming in with the strong level 2 trades with the E and Q, that could be quite devastating for him. Also with the lane layout here, Rumble having the red side top lane makes him a bit more vulnerable, and with the Sejuani having some nice CC coming in, especially with the melee champion of the Gwen, that can be quite something to attack Khan again. We haven't seen that in game number 1, even though it was a viable strategy. I mean, yeah, First Blood was against Khan, but then, well, then they abandoned everything. In the jungle matchup, I think I've talked about this. Mid lane, well, Silas versus Lee Sin. That is something that is usually, or was in Lee Sin's favor. But now with the E nerfs, or like reverbs, this can be something that turns quite heavily should the jungle 2v2 come in. Because then obviously the Silas does gain a little bit more benefits in these 2v2 scenarios. So I'm, kind of surprising to see the Lee Sin. Obviously his E is not only a great damage tool, but also contributing to his wave clear. So yeah, this will be interesting to see how Faker is able to use the Lee Sin. He played it in his first series this summer, and I think he went 7-1-6 or something. So he knows how to play the champion, obviously. In the bot lane, Teddy carrier with the same combination, I think that wasn't an issue. The problem was how the team rotated the bot lane. The bot lane was one of the only pressure points in the early game, winning the lane in terms of pressure and CS. Then they foolishly rotated them up top for no apparent reason but to catch Khan. Like, what the fuck, you just don't walk top lane and you get a free kill. And even if you do, it's not really worth if you like waste so much time for like the 300 gold. On the flip side, Ghost and Barrel were just farming like 2 waves in the meantime and got the first blood turret, which like completely got them back into the game. Yeah, so let's hope that doesn't happen again. So I wouldn't really give the fault for that maneuver to these two. Instead, I would say that's a team call that fucked that up. Ghost and Barrel here with the like standard comp that we saw at MSI where they played a ton, so they're really comfortable with this. Against the Teddy carrier Gragas Kalista lineup, still think that's losing in pressure, but it's a bit more like team fight and skirmish orientated. And we have to say, downward Kia with the Nocturne, with the Silas, and now the bot lane, they have a lot of dive coming in. T1 not really having all too much protection, but they have some tools, a bit more than in game number 1, with the Sejuani being a bit more of a frontliner, also having her ult, right, that can block something, and her E. Lee Sin with the kick, Teddy dashes, yes, and also his ultimate, and then we have Carrier with E and R. So not the best tools, or like quite costly tools, because it's usually ultimates, but T1 has some tools to defend the engage, or the dive coming in from Damukia. If we look at early lane pressure, I would give the advantage to T1, right? The early levels should go in their favor. Looking at the team fights, it's quite hard. There are limited engage tools for both sides, or like soft engage tools, right? Carrier and Cuss obviously can go in, but in terms of how would I phrase this? If they go in, there's little way out, right? Only Carrier has some mechanics with the Kalista ult bailing him out. This is at least something. On the other side, down 1 Kia, they have even less. So if they really go in with the Alistar and the Nocturne, they have little ability to bail them out, right? If they commit, they commit. And if they like hesitate during their commitment, that could turn quite ugly. They really need to wombo combo onto the T1 backline and like rob them of their damage, because T1, yes, they have like a Lee Sin and a Kalista and a Gwen, but for the most stages that's not too much damage, right? Gwen, yes, she has good laning and tradings, but in team fights her damage really ramps up with levels and items. If she is not snowballed, that will take some time. Lee Sin also is not really the best DPS champion, and similar to Gwen, can really be super devastating if he has items and levels. Only Kalista is really the reliable source of DPS here for T1. So should Down Kia's engage really slit her throat, that's an issue. But let's see if T1 is able to tie the series up 1-1 and get us a game number 3, or if Down Kia can complete the 2-0. Well, I have to say, I sure hope T1 makes it, obviously. So yeah, let's see. Maybe we see each other in the game 3 draft review. If not, then I wish you all a great day. We see each other next time.